All right. Happy Thursday.
It's a great Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday.
Thursday.
Remember those
Thursday. Oh, dude, do I ever? I remember probably a lot more of them than I should remember. But yeah, I remember a lot of them. Yeah, Sunday fun days. I mean, every day was a thirsty day for me. I was legit thirsty every day. But no, it finally somewhat like maybe feels like fall here, at least in Overland Park. It is September 25th, the year 2025. Welcome aboard, everybody. You're listening to the Crushing Iron Podcast. This is episode 879.
Yeah, you got it. I woke up to a London fog over the lake. I thought about swimming, man, but then I said no.
No, you said no, or the back said no?
The back said no.
Yeah,
but man, it looked tempting. It was one of those like, you kind of feel like it's very once in a year or twice in a year opportunities. Kind of like the pouring rain with no thunder and lightning, and you just want to run in it. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed about it, but
there'll be another one. I mean, it's just September. I mean, surely you got one more of those in you and come in before mid-November to where it gets a little bit maybe too chilly.
Yeah, it's true. It is plunge season though. We started our this is how I got into plunging. I was like, we bought this sauna, right? And we're gonna plunge in sauna. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. And I was all in, but I kind of in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but that's how I did it. Is sort of like started now, just going into the lake for 2 minutes every night, and then just do it every day, and then you just kind of get acclimated. And by the time it gets really cold, you're just sort of used to it.
Well, it is, and it's not that here. It's been 90, but I guarantee the lake isn't that chilly here.
No, the lake isn't even cold. It's like in the upper 60s now, but you just kind of do it every night.
Yeah,
and then by a month or couple weeks, it'll probably be in the 60, 58. You just sort of wean your way into the.
It's gradual, right? It's like. It's like when you're doing like, a little bit of weight loss, you see yourself in the mirror every single day. Like you don't really see or recognize anything, but you go for like 3 or 4 weeks out seeing somebody and they look that you're like, man, you look great. You can lose weight. You're like, yeah, I guess so. But I've seen myself every day. But if you do it every single day, like it really doesn't, it's that real gradual, slow, acclimation to it. It's not like this giant shock to the system. It kind of knows what you're doing. And just, it's just a couple of degrees here and there each day.
Yeah. And since you brought up weight, I got a scale going into Ironman or like a couple months, and I gave that shit up, man. Because
I can't believe you got a scale.
I know. And it's just
Did you get one of those fancy ones, or like you still going with
No. I mean, it's it's digital, but it's not not like fancy. Like I can't tell, my body fat composition or anything like that. But I was doing that for a while, and man, I'm like, come on. It's because I don't know if you're like me, but some days I wake up and I'm like, damn, I look good. And then I jump on the scale and it would be like, I put on 4 pounds. Like it kind of gets mental sometimes based on how you feel about yourself or how you feel in general. You might think you look better than you do.
Oh man, everybody does that. And then they still do it again. I mean, it's like trusting the weather guy. Like, he's full of shit and he lies all day long, 7 days a week, yet everything he say is borderline biblical. You're like, yeah, let me look at the weather for tomorrow, even though the last 3 days all you've done is talk trash about the same guy because all they've done is gotten the weather wrong. I was gonna plan this and it said it was gonna rain, it didn't rain a drop, and I'm like, all right, give me a break here. Like, but we do the same thing with the scale. You wake up and you're like, you go take a leak or, offload a little bit. And you're like, man, I feel pretty good. Look pretty good. The shirt's a little bit slim. You step on the scale and you're like, oh my God, I'm a whale. Well, so it's like, why do you do that to yourselves? It really is. I mean, most people are, I was having this conversation with another athlete, earlier this week. I was like, listen, every athlete, not all, but most every athlete I know is one good stomach virus away from race weight.
Yeah.
That's really
a good point.
that's it. It's just dehydration and bowel movements. Like steady, like progressive, like healthy, like weight loss that is actual fat, not you just being dehydrated, takes a lot of time. And so I think a lot of times people get like, or you could be doing like all the right things in your weight loss and you might have dropped like a half pound a week, which is a ton, right? So it's 2 pounds a month, which is a lot of fat to lose. But you may like, it could have like had a lot of water or like, I have a love-hate relationship with the scale. Right now I look about every 2 weeks, but at the same time, like it's the same thing we're supposed to talk about Chattanooga today, but still we'll get there in a minute. But this is just a like public service note. Don't hop on a scale before you race. Okay. Just don't. But now it's more like it's the same thing as going like blind on a run, and you like it's a perfect fall day, it's gorgeous outside, you feel great, the run was aerobic, like you feel energized, you're taking those like last 6 or 7 steps up to your house in the driveway, you hit stop, you hit save, and your pace is like 10 or 12 seconds slower per mile than you quote unquote anticipated. And that perfect morning run that would have started your day off, I mean, couldn't start off any better. Now you sprint, you probably create like a new training medal in Training Peaks. You sprint to your laptop, you throw it open, you get on Training Peaks, then you hate type your coach on the comments. You're like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm regressing. I'm not getting any faster. Like I would really expect this run to go well today, and it's just not going well. I think we should change things up. Yeah. When 6.5 minutes before that, you were happier than a clam, but no,
speaking
numbers
of
and stuff like that always mess with your mind and like mess with, reality. It's no different than getting on Facebook. Like having a great day and you feel like your life's incredible. Then you go on Facebook and you scroll through and you see somebody that's like, maybe having a better day or having a worse day. Right. And then your whole day is like, not that you can't have empathy, but like, man, you're like, some days I'm like, I don't want to hear this stuff. Like I'm in a pretty good spot right now. But yeah, I mean, the stuff that we willfully consume and how it swings the pendulum on our mood, which pretty much determines a lot of the decisions and actions that we take through the course of the day, I think is just incredible.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that. I mean, there's so many triggers out there now, man. Like everywhere you look, you could really, be on a great path, and then suddenly you remember something that puts you in a bad mood. And it's like, wow, man, it is kind of hard. It's funny. I love that analogy between the scale and the weather, man. It's like, I never really get in a lot of arguments, but when I worked in the news business, I would always get in fights with the weather people, man. I think they were just like, I think they knew they were living on a false standard or something because, like,
for sure.
They had to feel like I just never could imagine
this, but
I couldn't imagine how they could actually think that they were, something. It's kind of like you have that king or queen vibe, but you're really not. You know what I mean? It's like
dude, I agree with you completely. I'm sure there's people like, I thought you guys were talking about Chattanooga today, and we are. We're going to talk about it in just a second, but this is like your lighthearted, make sure you're having fun race week, get you out of your head taper. Because here's the thing, and we'll leap off this in a minute, but like the weather, I put weathermen and archaeologists in the same compartment.
I'm in. All right,
like,
now we're going.
They're like, okay, we found this 6 centimeter long thing that we feel like looks like a bone, could be a bone. And you know what? We found a new dinosaur. Like we found a new dinosaur that lived 6 billion years ago, and we're going to call it, the Triathlonsaurus Rex. And and by the way, it only ate plants. And you're like, how do you even come up with this stuff? Like, but people are like, and it's all like, man in Arizona finds brand new dinosaur species, and you're like, wait a minute, like, how did we jump from this to this? And yeah, dude, like I put those two professions in pretty much the same category. It's like you can just do whatever you want, whenever you want, say whatever you want to, and it is golden.
Oh man.
I know. I hope we don't have any archaeologists that's just like cats. I mean, listen, I admire your resiliency, and I admire your ability to, sit outside, and lean over with lower back, probably pain all the time, on your knees, looking through dirt to find bones. Like, I feel like that is really not many people are made for that. So yeah, kudos to you, and kudos to all the weathermen and weatherwomen out there. We do have to have you. We do need weather, and we do. Even though you lie to us all the time, we still believe you more than we believe our parents. So yeah, there it is. There's your message today about weathermen and archaeologists. And now I'll get into one of the bigger races this weekend, Ironman Chattanooga, a race that you and I both know very well, not just from the 70.3. Obviously, it's a little bit different course, but obviously from the full. You've done the full, I believe, till this date. It's your fastest Ironman time, or am I making that up?
No, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, we both lived there for 2 years. I mean, we know that city, we know that course like the back of our hand. We've done a training camp there. We've obviously, like I said, we lived there for 2 years. We trained in the course. And they've moved the bike course now to a road that I used to drive every single day to and from the old hub there, because it was on my way back home on the highway. So we know it well. And we had a request to do this. We've got quite a few athletes racing this weekend, so it does. And I will say, like, Chattanooga is one of my favorite cities. I do like, even though I love everything about Overland Park, like, I do miss some of the things about Chattanooga. Like, I miss the terrain, I miss the trees, I miss like the river going through downtown. It really is a great city, and like, I know registrations have been down the last 3 to 4 years. I'm really hoping that they kind of go back up, because it's a perfect. It's not as fun of a town as Madison. It doesn't have like that college town feel. It's not like surrounded by water like Madison is, but in terms of like, park it and then never get in your car again, like, that is it. It is a perfect city to host the race, where you pull into town, you roll through Chestnut Street, or Walnut, you're picking like one of the 19,000 hotels downtown. You park and you don't get back in your car. So from just from like a spectator and an athlete friendly city, I mean, I don't think it gets much easier than that location.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love that city. It's just the timing of it, was weird for us in a way. But I'm with you. I hope I don't know why that would be. I think it's just because, Chat's had some weird weather situations. I mean, it's been 100 degrees, and then they've had a few of the swims canceled over the last 10 years, and I don't know. But it looks like it's going to be a good one. I didn't really.
The weather looks.
Weather,
the weather looks not too hot and not too cold. I mean, it's pretty much. I would say it's on par average for late September in the South, which is honestly like something that they haven't gotten in the last 5 years there. It's either been too hot or it's been super rain, like it rained last year. But yeah, I also think, like, and we'll get in the course, like the registration wise. I mean, there's just a backlog of races and choices that time of year. You just got rolling through. You just got done with, September alone, North America. You got, leads off with Wisconsin, and then it goes straight to Maryland, and then, then you got Chattanooga, and then you've got California, and then you've got Arizona or Florida, Arizona, Cozumel. I mean, it's just like, there's just a backlog of these fulls, and I think it really separates. To me, it's almost too close to like when school's back. A lot of people look for later stuff, because I think at least a lot of people do. Like, you look at, hey, I could just kind of train like a 70.3 until my kids go back to school. Then I've got like 3 months basically to train for a full while the kids are back in school and routines are more scheduled. Mm-hmm. But Chattanooga kind of falls in like this really odd, like, honestly, like, I know they wouldn't ever do this, but that's why I was bummed to see Jacksonville be announced on the weekend it was, because I always thought, like, if you really want to crush this race, then you flop it. Then you remove Augusta 70.3 and just send it home, send it packing. And you move Ironman Chattanooga to the May date the 70.3 is on, and you move the Chattanooga 70.3 May date to the September one. Because I think if you did that third week of May, Ironman Chattanooga, I think it would sell out. I think it's the perfect time of year. It's the perfect location. The weather's beautiful that time of year. I mean, yeah, it can be a little bit warm, but man, like, you're guaranteed a wetsuit swim, and it's just a beautiful time of year. The kids are just now like almost anyway, and they're not going to change it. But that's kind of what I was hoping they would do. but they didn't. They don't listen. I think they listen. It's just like 2 or 3 years late. But hopping in like straight going to the swim. It is legit, like literally straightforward swim. It is a point-to-point swim. You do have to take the bus all the way up to the start. Little word to the wise, don't be last getting there. I'll never forget like the rate. I think it was a 7.3 when I were spectating, and there was literally people getting out of the water. It may have been the full. There were people getting out of the water at the swim exit, and this guy was like moseying his way down the
Wasn't there like a
Riverfront Parkway. Yeah, with his stuff. And he was like, which way is the swim start? And we're like, dude, the swim is on. You better like hustle. So I think he got like a good mile and a half, 1.2, easy jog to get warmed up. So don't be late. Don't take it that easy. I mean, it's like same thing happened in Madison. Like I'm amazed at like either the unpreparedness or the calmness. You can't really tell. You either think they're super chill or woefully underprepared. Like I went down to the swim start at Wisconsin, and like the helix is here. People like more than half the fields in the water. All of our athletes are in the water. I was like, all right, I'm walking up the terrace. I'm gonna use the restroom. I walk in the bathroom. There's a dude using the change table to get dressed in his wetsuit, and couldn't have been moving any slower.
I like that guy.
I mean, seriously, I didn't know whether to like panic or be impressed. I was like, man, this guy is cool. He's even taking the time to like, he's doing the old, even though he's about to like high five and swap spit and chamois cream with like 3,000 strangers. He's like, I'm not stepping my feet on this bathroom tile. I'm going to step on top of my shoes while I'm putting the bottom of it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, actually. Like him standing on top of his shoes, so he wouldn't get his feet, quote unquote, dirty with germs on it from the tile floor, and putting his wetsuit bottom on. I was standing up. I was like, man, this guy's in for a great day.
He's using the baby changing table, you said?
Yeah, he used the baby changing table to like set his stuff down. I just kind of looked over and I was just mesmerized. I was man. Again, like I didn't know whether panic for him or just like ask if I could take a selfie and get a like shake his hand, because I was thoroughly impressed. I couldn't figure out which to panic or be impressed.
Well, yeah, that just reminded me. Speaking of Chad, I think it was actually that year that my fastest one ever was. I can't remember what year that it was, but I'm on the first. I might want to try it again because I think it's a little faster now, the course. But I'm on the bus because they shuttle you up there. It's 2.5 miles up the river, whatever. And I didn't have my timing chip. I forgot it in the hotel room. So if anybody's ever done that, it's like it's not a good feeling. It was CC on the bus, and he was just so pissed at me. He's like, "What do you mean you forgot?" Oh, Jesus! He jumped my ass. I'm like, sorry, dude. But if you forget it, they'll have extras up at the front of the swim, right when you go in. And I just remember, I feel like that was back when there was probably almost 3,000 people racing. Is that right? Probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I walked up, and we get kind of dropped off in what becomes the middle, or used to be the middle of the line. I had to walk all the way up to the front, and everybody that I was starting with was way at the back. So I walked like 3 miles, I felt like, just to get a timing chip. But good warm-up, man. Good warm-up.
Amazing. We didn't figure that out about Louisville till it was too late.
Dude, I'm thinking about doing that again, because that was, I think my best swim was the Louisville one when we just went in last.
Yeah, I mean, like, so for this is for like the old timers, but like if you back when they had Ironman Louisville, you had to walk. Well, you didn't have to, as we found out, but like they had the swim start, and then the line went the opposite direction, which I never really fully understood.
Yeah,
I think it was just one of those cases like you just follow people in front of you, and like they would just get in single file, and people just kept walking. And you're thinking of a line of 3,000 people you walk. So finally, at that last year that we did it, we were like, fuck that, dude. We're not walking all the way to the end. We're just going to go in last. And we just sat right there in the concrete amphitheater and waited for everybody to walk towards us, except for the people who chose to wear a wetsuit that day.
Yeah, we got it right before them. All we did was arm circles for like a half hour. I was so ready.
So was I, dude. I had a great lather. I was ready to go. But yeah, I mean, so if you're doing this race again, it's point-to-point swim, regardless of wetsuit or not. I'm sure everybody on the closed Facebook groups asking about water flow. It does look like a pretty ideal day overall, like low wind, pretty, again, south weather, it's going to be fine. The one thing I would say, like just from having done the 70.3, and you can obviously chime with full, and we've had, just loads and loads of athletes race this race. Don't expect a fast time. Like, this goes back to the very first thing we started talking about the podcast. Like, don't let a number screw up your day. And like, regardless of what the current is or is not, do not expect some blazing fast time. Just be shocked and surprised. And I think that's a huge mistake people have when they hop into these races, especially like, back when they changed the half course to make it, I mean, honestly, like ridiculous, because they used to swim. Oh my God, we used to swim upstream. The horror of making an endurance athlete train for somebody to swim upstream for like 200 meters. I found out they couldn't do that because most people couldn't make it. So now it was a little bit longer. People expected to have like these blazing fast times, but they went from like a 1.2 mile swim to like a 1.5 or 6. So you're not getting it. This one obviously isn't the same, but just don't expect some blazing fast time. Yeah, we've seen some like times in the 40s and like even high 30s in the past, but just don't start playing that mind game of like the swim bank, which I think a lot of people have with these downriver swims like Augusta, California, Chattanooga, Waco, like just had Tri-Cities just last weekend. Again, like Jacksonville, that's going to happen. Like they just keep trying to find these super easy swim courses. North Carolina 70.3 in a few weeks. Like, just don't assume that it's going to be a walk in the park, right? Just the best thing you can do is, again, like all Ironman races, stay composed. You're going to have tons of room because the time trial start and the fact that it's a straight point to point, there are no loops. Like the biggest thing you can do on this swim is just enjoy the bridges, enjoy the scenery, swim as straight as possible, wave to the people probably golfing on early Sunday morning on the right, and just swim as straight as you possibly can. If you want to get a little bit cocky, you can kind of like, slowly veer your way towards the center of the river. If there is a lot of flow, you definitely want to be a little bit closer to the middle because that's where the river is the deepest. Therefore it's also the fastest. But yeah, I mean, it is one of the most like straightforward swims on the circuit because one, it's like usually not overly fast, and also they haven't had to swim like 2 or 3 out of the last 10 years. But yeah, it's pretty simple swim, very easy to get in and out of, simple exit. You have to kind of go up a little hill to get up. You cross over from Parkway, then head out to what I also think is the Madison's probably the best in terms of like that parking deck, but like I think that the transition area right there underneath the bridge is probably the most perfect like location for a transition coming out of the water because it's pretty close. It's not super far away. But yeah, I mean, again, point to point, pretty simple. In fact, I kind of think this whole race is pretty simple till you get to run.
Yeah, I really can't add much to that swim. I think the thing I always tell everybody is, like you said, there's just so much room out there. Mm-hmm. And I think there is one thing, people, it's straight. It is quote unquote straight downstream, but it's not really straight. There's a little bit of S-curvy in there. So just keep the buoys close. That's always the best idea. You can think you're going to outthink the angles and shit like that, but it's usually, I've tried that one other time, and then the one time I had my best swim down there, it was just staying right on the buoys, and it just took you right to the right place. So it is so wide, it's so easy to kind of be look up and be like 40 yards away from the buoy line. Then you're like, do you even know if you're cutting or you're going way out of the way? So it's hard to keep your bearings with that, but stay right at it.
Exactly. Yep. Stay right. Get in, get out, get back on the bike. Obviously, they made a kind of a last minute change the bike course last year going through Georgia. Obviously, it had some issues with that, and now it just pretty much utilizes like Highway 27, which is again like that was the road that I took every single day going to and from the hub. And as Hayden loves to remind me at least once a month that I got a ticket on 27 one time. Like he'll just be driving like to the store and he'll be like, "Hey Dad," I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Remember that time you got a ticket in Chattanooga?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I remember. Appreciate that." Like, you can't remember to fucking brush your teeth this morning. I have to remind you twice, but you can remember the ticket that I got one time in the last 11 years and exactly where it was. But yeah, know that road well. Listen, guys, like I know this is going to sound like a weird statement, but this is the flattest, hilliest course you're ever going to have on an Ironman bike course. The roads are perfect. You've got plenty of room, and there are less turns on this entire 112-mile course than there are in the first 4 miles of Wisconsin 70.3. I mean, there are, I think, 12 or 13 turns. That's it. It is straight shot city with some turnarounds. And yes, you've got, 4,000, feet a game, which honestly isn't really all that much. It's like 1,700 an hour, for depending on how fast you're going. Like, that is not a lot. And I think this, again, like, this course is, if you pace this right, this course is ripe for a PR. If you get even just remotely decent swim conditions, let's say, again, I know I talked, I know I just said don't mail it in like you're going to get some bonus minutes here, but let's say you get a couple minutes, like I like to look at these downriver swims as transition cancelers. Like just don't bucket that. Just be like, hey, the swim was 5 or 6 minutes fast, then I'm losing a transition. That's kind of where you're banking your time. But this course is like the exact copy and paste version of the Louisville 70.3 course. It is rolling, but it is one of those courses where it's rolling, but you can maintain speed. There aren't any sharp hairpin turns at the bottom. There's no scary descents. It is just hold your power. It's also again, with 4,000 feet a game, you don't have short and steep ones. You just have longer ones that are a lot more controlled. I mean, if you live in Nashville, hopefully you just rode the Trace every Saturday, because that's exactly what you're going to get. I mean, you should be able to hold speed and keep it pretty smooth. You shouldn't have these huge spikes like you see people really struggle with it, like Lake Placid or Coeur d'Alene or Wisconsin. You should be able to keep it pretty smooth because there's no turns. You just go. You can maintain speed going down, and you can maintain the speed to help you get back up. And so if you know how to gear and you're great at, again, just don't do, and we've talked about this a lot, when you get 6 to 8 meters before you get to the top of the hill, don't stop pedaling. And you see it all the time. You see people take a break because they know they're about to get to the top. Power up and over the top to keep that momentum to get up and over the hill to then maintain the speed to go down. That way it makes the ascent up the next hill that much easier. But it is a fast bike course. Again, the roads are great. You are basically exposed the whole time. I mean, there is no, that's I think, again, as beautiful as the old Ironman Chattanooga course was, it was also beautiful, but also you did get some reprieve, right? If there was winds, you got some trees to block it. You had a bunch of turns, that were going to kind of give you a little bit of a headwind, tailwind, crosswind, and then you had some shade. This is just straight up exposure. It's a lot like, the tollway, the toll road for Ironman Texas. Once you get out there, it's just you, asphalt, concrete, and some barriers. But no, I mean, I think it's a very, very, very fast course as long as you're patient with it. I mean, again, this course is a warm up until you get to the run, but yeah, keep that speed. Don't stop at the top of the hill. Don't just only coast, because it makes it harder, to go down. And again, it's 3 loops. It's also great for pacing. I know people hate, looped courses, but I think it's really great for people that may or may not struggle with pacing. To be like, hey, I just got to break this up into chunks. I got to break my nutrition up into chunks. I got to break up my power plan into chunks, and then, just break it up into thirds. I think I know a lot of people are disappointed. I would definitely say and agree it's not as beautiful as the old course, but I think it is a faster course. And from what I've heard, they've found another 4 miles. So now this is maybe the first year that it's ever been 112 miles. Because it was it was always 116, and last year was 108. So yeah, it took Ironman Chattanooga 11 or 12, 13 years to finally get a 112-mile bike, but they got it, and I think you're going to love it.
I think back to those early years when they were getting the course ready for the first one, and it was 116, and everybody was just bitching about it. 116, blah, blah, blah. And finally the race director stepped in the Facebook group and goes, look, I can make this 112 tomorrow, but you'll be going up into the mountains. So just, make your pick. But yeah, this I didn't drive it, but this I think was basically part of the course for the waterfront triathlon that I did that
you
one
nailed
time.
it. Exactly.
So I remember riding it, and I remember thinking, yeah, it is exactly everything you said, but it's kind of like my memory of it was sort of a continual false flatty type vibe. You know, it wasn't like massive climbing all over, but you're definitely climbing, maybe even when you don't think you're climbing. So that was the memory I have. Of course, I was.
Did you ever do the Music City Trial when it went on Briley?
Yeah, Ellington.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did
same
that.
thing, right? Same feel.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like, that's why I keep telling people, you know, those, because it's almost a false, I don't want to say, it's kind of falls downhilly too. So that to me was always the secret, is getting that speed when you don't think it's there. You know, you can, there's opportunity because you're climbing, you know, let's say you're going to be pushing roughly, you know, whatever watts, but 20 miles an hour on a flat. And then maybe you're going up these hills at like 17, and then you got to take the 25 on the way down. You know, I mean, there's like, it's not a huge range, but I just think in a way it's sort of like a course that I would actually love, because I don't want to do, you know, the flat Floridas of the world, but this is sort of like a combo aero. It's like a big aero course, you know, where you can't be out of your aero too much, I would imagine. I would guess. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't rode out past.
I think it's got, first of all, it sounds like you're talking yourself into this race for next year. But on the other hand, like, it's just we might want to circle back to this come February or March. But listen, I think it's one of those bike courses where, like just like you said, you could be an aero, quote unquote, the whole time. But I think it's almost perfect in that if you want to set up as you get going towards like some of the top of these rollers, you're not going to lose any speed, right? You're probably going at a slow enough clip to where it's not going to make any differences. It's not gonna make any different. But yeah, no, I think like, and what you said about the false flats, like that's one of the things that I always kind of go back to. Like I remember riding the trace for the first few times. Like if you find yourself, you know, a good way to recognize if you're on a false flat and you're like seeing your miles per hour be a little bit low, but you can't tell, is I always go with like, if it feels like you're going at a pretty good clip and it's easy to generate power, you're on a false flat. Because it's always easier to put out more power when you're on, you know, a 2 to 3, 4% incline. It helps engage, you know, your entire pedal stroke. You're getting more friction. You know, you're not going as fast either. And I think that's like a great way to look at my power, because it feels like it's coming pretty easy and purposeful, right? And you don't have any desire at all or feel any need to like get up and out of aero. That's a false flat. You know, if you're spinning things down, then going down, you're probably going downhill, right? If you feel like you need to keep gearing down and down and down, and you're kind of freewheeling, obviously you're on a downhill. But yeah, I mean, I think there's opportunities there to set up if you need it, where you aren't going to lose any quote unquote speed by stretching things out a little bit. I can't wait to track you next year. The run course. I mean, there is one change. I mean, I'm not doing it, but I'd have to go back in the Facebook group and look, because I don't think they've updated the course. But I know you're no longer running over the pedestrian bridge this year, because they are, I guess they're resurfacing it finally, which is probably long overdue. I know, I mean, just from when we lived there years and years ago, I'm like, man, like the fact that people haven't they don't follow on this as much as they probably could, like, is a little bit of a shock. But I don't think it to me, it's not going to change anything really. I mean, it is a zone 2, zone 3, zone 2, zone 3 course. It is try to keep it aerobic and get your legs under you for the first, like 6, 7, 8 miles, really. Like you head out, you run a battery, then head on Riverside, and you head out and hit whatever that was, the Amacola Highway. Is that what you call that highway back up there? Yeah, Amacola, again, also has false flats and can feel just like if it's, because it won't be like 90, but it's gonna feel hot, because I think it's like forecast is like no clouds, sun all day. There is nowhere to hide, and you're going from nowhere to hide on the bike to nowhere to hide in like the first 3 or 4 miles around. They're kind of flat, again, false flat. but I think the layout is great because it gives you a chance to kind of open up your legs a little bit, get your stride underneath you. And then obviously just a 2-looper, you do that, you hit the river walk, you go back towards town. And then as soon as you take a right coming off a battery, like up that little pincher where I'll never forget, like Renee Black catching me walk that year, you take a right on veterans, like that's when that section, like the important stuff starts, because then you go up over veterans and you head up Barton and then you come back. Like that section to me is what makes or breaks people's race. And maybe not that section, but like how you hold back until you get to that section is what makes or breaks people's race on the entire course. I think this is the meat that matters on both those loops. And if you can nail the pacing to be able to attack these and not just like be able to run steadily on the uphill, but be able to actually utilize like the long downhill stretches, which is what I see. I know you too, like is what shreds people's quads. Like they're on the second loop and they're like leaning back on their heels. I think this is your opportunity to have your best day if you can execute this part of the run twice in the best way possible.
Yeah. I keep thinking about, I don't know how many people would be doing this for the first time, so I think maybe this is a lot of rehash, but it's always good to think about because you come out of transition and the first hill, you come right out of transition, you got a hill there. So that's like one of those things where how do you handle that right away? And usually it's just like be super patient there, but then you get on Amnicola. Exactly what I tell my athletes is like you got an opportunity there to kind of wake the legs up because there is like those little roller false flat things out there. You go down for 3 miles and then you're on the greenway coming back, and that's like I always started feeling really good when I got on that greenway, at least the first lap. And then then you kind of come down that bridge and get into Barton and you go up that thing, and we live there and I used to run over there just on my runs, and that hill isn't as bad. Like when I would run it just running, it would be no big deal, but off a 112-mile bike or whatever, it feels like it can feel pretty daunting at times. So yeah, you want to be ready to get up that thing. And then of course you go down the backside and then come back around and do the whole thing. So you're up and down Barton twice on each loop, the front and back of it. And you're right. It is a nice long downhill. For me, it was always like, cause my hamstrings are always the problem. So I would always try to engage my quads on that downhill. So, it's like, it is a weird situation because you can kind of get into it. If you find a nice flow on that downhill, you can really kind of get some good recovery / pick up some time type deal. And I think basically just now they're coming down that Veterans Bridge going up Bart, and then when you come back down, I think you just go baback up Veterans Bridge is be my guess.
Yep, exactly.
Which is basically probably the same angle.
Same elevation. Yeah, it's honestly like to me it'll be, I think, a little bit faster.
Yeah, because that north side is a little Darcy.
Exactly.
When you go that north side, North Shore over there, it's kind of a little weird.
It is, and it makes it harder to spectate. Now I think hopefully since they're removing Walnut, like it should be. You can pop out on Veterans and find some pretty great places to cheer.
But you don't be running by the ice cream shop as much, I don't think. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, you're gonna miss Crummies. But you could always, find other places out there to go spectate. But yeah, the Veterans all the way up. I think the other part about that loop that makes it seem daunting, and I can't encourage people enough, is like when you're going up and over, like when you're going up these climbs, just look 3 to 4 feet in front of you, because you can see for a ways going up these, and it can seem just insanely daunting because you're like, God, and I think it makes you walk earlier than you would, and because you're like, God, I can't make it all the way up there, and then you start walking, and then again once you start walking, it's game on walk, So I think like keep your head down 5. It's just like climbing it, if you're on like a big ascent, or like going up a hill. If it's 2, 3, 4 miles long, like you shouldn't be climbing staring at the top because it's just like waiting for water to boil. Just look 5, 6 feet in front of you, and just get to work, right? And I'm telling you, especially when you get to that section, I got to say, this is a great run course.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is, I think, I don't know why. Again, I think it, like you said, the outside of the cast, like I think the the removal of the swim, obviously, in some of the hot years has kind of put like a bad taste in the mouth for this race, but it's just such a great course. I mean, swim is great. It's downtown. It's a pretty swim, and you got a lot of greenery to see. The bike obviously is what it is right now, but again, it's a pretty fast bike course, in my opinion. And the run is a little bit of everything. I mean, you're going to have shade, you're going to have straightaways, you're going to have highway, you're going to have some hills like going up into like, major suburbia over there and like the other side, like once you get over Veterans Bridge, like it's just, and then you finish downtown. It's a great run course with everything. And I think, while a lot of people would prefer maybe to have, some just more flat reprieve. I love run courses like this because just like you said, I think the change in pace, that's what I used to hate about the Louisville Full. Outside of like going up and under that little overpass that it had, like you got no elevation change. It was just quads and knees all day long. Mm-hmm. This one, you get a little bit of everything and a little bit of change of pace. And I will say, like, I remember because I used to run most of this route, like just on my daily morning runs.
Yeah.
Was the Hicks and Pike is sneaky. I think a lot of people make like the Hicks and Pike up to, like the River View or roads, something going back and around in the little neighborhoods. That's a sneaky area. I think people make not a much ado about nothing about, Barton Street, but yes, it's long, but I think people get to the bottom, like right down there next to like that place you always eat for breakfast. And rest in peace, Frankie and Johnny, my favorite haircut place ever, used to be located. People think that they're like kind of like done, but it's still hilly back there in that little, like you go up as soon as again, like there's constant changes of pace. And I think if you just embrace that and embrace like the change in, footing, like I was having this exact conversation with, Tommy Bonds, who's still in Chattanooga, but yesterday about training for his 100 mile. He's like, I just feel a lot less beat up on some of these like super long trail runs. And I said, well, it's not just because of the, especially as we get older, but like it's not just the fact that you're not running on asphalt and concrete. It's the fact that you're never doing the same like intense focused load on the same joints, tendons, muscles, ligaments for 3.5, 4 hours straight with no reprieve, right? Like in trail running, you're shifting left and right, and you're bouncing, and there's always like shifts in load, and to me, it's just like, it's the, you can ride your trainer for 20 minutes and feel like you've been on there for 7 hours because your pressure point's the exact same spot. And you're like, man, this sucks. But you can go riding the bike and upcharge, you're like, I feel totally comfortable because of all the shifts. And I just think like a course like this, if you can embrace that and be like, yeah, this is fine. And like, again, open up your cadence, elongate, especially like on the uphills and downhills, make sure you're leaning forward on both. Like don't ever be leaning backwards. And then just know that little that section, right. And you kind of use Veterans as a time to like kind of, if for lack of a better phrase, like get your shit together. Once you come off, Amicola Highway and then the Greenway, then this is where the work is. It should be preparation, work, and then back to preparation, and then work, and then you go to finish. I mean, just get ready for it and embrace it, because it's a great course, takes you through everything, and I think the change of pace, like as long as you prepare yourself well and you don't stare at the top, I wouldn't consider it a PR run course, but I don't think it's as nearly as like insanely hard as people make it out to be, because you do also have like a lot of like straight long sections with like no turns. We can kind of really get into a flow, and I think the balance that this course provides in the run course is pretty close to on point.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. I mean, that to me is like how I like to run. Naturally, I think cycling too. I like different variables, and I used to approach that course that way, sort of like you're saying. I love what you said about don't look up, because it is just sort of like, all right, just keep 3-4 feet in front of you, because it's just, you're doing work. It's sort of like you're just spinning your legs up and get up there. But I would definitely find situations like on the Greenway after, when you get to mile 4 or whatever and come back on the greenway, and it's real flat. It almost felt like a little bit of a downhill. It probably wasn't, but after the Iamnicola Highway, it feels like a free time to sort of find your run stride. And I remember doing that. I would kind of be going, I've never been a great pacer, but I think about like, okay, if I'm trying to go 10-minute pace, I might be going 10:30 out on the road, and then coming back, I would be doing 9:30 or something. That's just sort of how I did it. Then you hit Battery Lane, and that's the same. It's a minor version of Barton. You kind of, it's not awful, but on the race day, it feels like it a little bit more.
It does. It sucks.
But it's a little longer than you think, because you got to kind of go all the way up into that neighborhood, and then you pop out of there, and then you're on that bridge, and you got a perfect downhill grade.
Yeah,
and I would always just kick it into gear. I mean, for me, it was just sort of always about, I'm going to fly down this thing because it feels good. It's a perfect grade, and then you're going up Barton, and then it's just kind of a grinder again, and then you're going down, and you got to be careful, but. Yeah, it's a great course. I mean, I did pretty well out there, even though it's, arguably one of the tougher run courses on the Ironman circuit, I bet, as far as elevation, because it's always got that stigma, but it's it doesn't have to be super slow,
I do think it's one of the more underappreciated courses out there from start to finish.
It's pretty awesome, really.
It really, honestly,
the Greenway
really
section is nice. I love that.
The Greenway, that's exactly like what I was about to say too, is like, and again, like you and I know some personal experience, like even doing like training runs out there, don't even look at your GPS. Don't even look at it, because there's major tree coverage and you're right next to a body of water. Your GPS is going to be going all over the place. Mm-hmm. Like just trying to find satellite. So just disregard, enjoy the fact that you've got some shade and reprieve, and just get into flow. And that's because it honestly is like, it's from like the Amicola when you hop on the Riverwalk, like it's like you're running two different courses, because like you're on Riverwalk, like how am I ever going to get to like a rolling, like hilly course on the other side of it? And then like the last thing for me is a request that'll never be granted, but like, next year, if the pedestrian bridges, because what I believe is one of the biggest reasons the finish line is one of the worst on the North American circuit. It is totally misplaced. Yeah. Like they just throw it down there on the lawn, and they're like, people will come to here, and nobody comes down there because it's so far from everything else. I mean, I can make it from seeing three different like routes on the run course in Madison and be in the finish line in, 3 minutes. Like it just, no one comes to it, and it sucks. It just does. Hopefully it doesn't this year. I'm not saying your finish line experience is going to suck, but like do us all a favor. Like if the pedestrian bridge is back next year, then first loop, you come back over Veterans, same as this year. Second loop, you come up pedestrian bridge, and the finish line is right there next in that little area right as you cross the pedestrian bridge. It would be bumping. There's a hotel there, there's restaurants, there's ice cream, coffee, like you name it. It's condensed, buildings on both sides, like, and it's easy to get back and forth on the run course there, because you can drop down and see people below, and you can head back over and catch people on Veterans. Like, change up the finish line. Like I think that is the reason why some people like they finish and like, that's it. Like, where is everybody? Because there's nothing else to do smack dab like right there. And I know that's not hugely important for a lot of people, but from spectating it and, getting athlete feedback that have done it, like the course really is amazing for the first 99.9% of it, but like just move the finish line somewhere else that's a little more accessible and a little more exciting, that still is like within a half mile of the rest of the race that's going on. And I think if you can do that, then you're gonna, again, you're gonna increase the the retention and increase participation. I know it's probably a huge ask, but I think that would be a sweet spot for a finish line. Yeah,
I agree with that. I've always felt like that course, they could take a little more advantage of downtown. Because, because even if you came down that finish line and turned left and went back up that street towards Holiday Inn or something, if it was over there somewhere, just in the city, I wish they could run that course at least through about, a few blocks of downtown somehow. I just think that would really be cool. That's a great call. And then
And there's nothing else going on down there.
No.
I mean, like on race, like there's literally nothing else going on down there.
just finish right in front of the Adventure Center or something over there, like in the city part. You know,
exactly what I was going to say.
That'd be awesome.
4th and Chestnut, you know, right there. Got hotels there. I mean, weave them back in and out of there, or yeah, I mean, or if, make people walk. I know it's a little bit of a walk, but or just make the finish line like you just extend your time over on Barton and Riverside Drive, and make the finish line like right smack dab, you know, down there on Fraser Street and North Shore. You know, you can see people coming back, but yeah, I mean, for sure, like there's a lot of, I just think there's a lot of opportunities to be more engaging with the finish line there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, outside of that, I mean, again, like the course is great. Just don't end it with a dud.
I know. And
I'm sure people will appreciate not having to do that damn downhill too, coming back towards the finish line.
Yeah.
Because they come out and they pop down that long downhill, and they're like, God, the last thing my quads need right now are to be completely shredded on this downhill.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, frankly, I don't know. I don't know the logistics. It seems like it would be tough on 29. That seems like but I don't know. I love that old bike course too. I don't know what the reason was, but
I think it's a Georgia thing.
Yeah.
Typical.
Or like, again, you know, maybe you do make it 112 and go into the mountains a little bit. Make it, you know, it's back to this mass start thing, because people might get into that. You know, it's like, this course is tough, man. You got to go up in the, you know, I think there's some challenging people that might do that. I've noticed in the Wisconsin group, and I think our mass start talk is starting to head up, and they're starting to post pictures of the old mass starts and videos and stuff like that. So I wonder if it's getting a little steam, because I mean,
like at least they could drop us off the bridge.
Do the Chattanooga bike course, the toughest on the American circuit. I mean, that would be like, okay.
I mean, but here's the thing: is like we know they can do it because they did it for 70.3 Worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they obviously, like, it was a big ask, and it brought a lot of, you know, tons of revenue to the city, but obviously, like, make it challenging.
Or how about this, man? Like, you know, because it's 3 loops now. Why don't you just do the half course 3 times, or figure out, you know, some kind of variation of that instead of having to go to Georgia?
Variation. Like, don't make me bike back through St. Elmo again.
No. You just stay out there and you do
and just do the loop.
St. Andrews and Hill or whatever, and then you come. Something like that.
That would be legit.
I'm not opposed to 3 loops.
Course. It is such a great, and I wouldn't even be. I mean, I know the Amoco is great, but I was always also a huge fan of going the Greenway on the other direction. I think you would get more. You could get more spectators because you're running along houses. I mean, I used to run up there. I just leave my house, run across pedestrian, come back down, hit the Greenway, and go that direction, like towards St. Elmo, and the whole Greenway is like, you know, townhouses and homes and stuff like that. Like, you know, take them back towards the baseball stadium. You know, do the old Wisconsin, make them run a lap around the baseball field just for the sake of doing it. But no, I think there's a lot. I mean, obviously we're not.
Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like take them out. Those abandoned warehouses. Like, I think those are so cool.
You mean out the bike course way?
Yeah, out the bike course way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, again, like, I know it's easier said than done, right? But yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you could highlight in that city. Just, you know, pump it up a little bit.
I do think it's just a little bit. Yeah, it's it's so interesting to talk about this though, because I feel like, you know, they get locked in and it's just easy and they just rubber stamp it every year. And I understand that, but just maybe like one little variation might make the whole difference.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just think how easy it would be I mean, that's even like a really, I mean, I get it, but I mean, like, if you've got permission to use the Riverwalk, then you've got permission to use it. So why couldn't you use it on both sides? You have them head out, you know, go past, like, you know, one of the host hotels, you know, you're coming on the run, you're passing, you know, Ross Landing City Park, and then you're going past, like, again, those hotels and restaurants and bars that are up that way. You hop on the Riverwalk and go that way, and then come back and hop back up and do Barton. I mean, you can do both. I think it's just like, I mean, dude, yeah. How badass would it be if you could just like make that turn do Riverfront and just go turn up Main Street. Can you think about the crowds that would be down there? That would be great. Again, this is all like super easy to say and not easy to do, but no, it's a great city, great town. Obviously, like, you and I both loved it there. It did come in like a really weird, obviously with COVID, and it was just like a weird time, but I loved it there. I mean, I talk about it all the time. Like, I miss a lot of things about it, but super underrated city for sure. And then I think very underappreciated race. Honestly, this podcast got me excited about it. But yeah, it's a great race, great opportunity. And again, like, I think as long as you can, again, pace yourself, not get too ahead of things, and just know that it really is about like those two sections on the run course. Like, how can I run there? How can I, execute? I think looking at a high of 86 and a low of 58. I mean, listen, I know that 86 might sound hot, but man, if you're starting the race and it's, race time's only going to be 64, there's no double digit wind. Again, here's my thing with the weather. The high says 86 and you scroll through the hourly, it never gets past 82. Again, perfect example here. But I mean, all accounts, this is a perfect day. Again, not sure if it's gonna be a wetsuit or not, but like regardless of that, a beautiful day, beautiful city. Both got a ton of fond memories there, and yeah, super underappreciated race that I hope sticks around, and hopefully it sees, some increased registrations out there. I'd be interested to see how many people are doing the race this year, if they're going to see the same kind of increase that they've seen, on the other races, if they've seen that. Wisconsin saw more, and there's been kind of an uptick. So hopefully this one sees the same thing.
I hope so too. Yeah, because that's a city that needs to keep their Ironman for sure.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, it just fits their culture so perfectly too.
It does. Yep.
And they just love it. I mean, certain city, you can tell. Certain cities love it, and that's certainly one of them. I mean, you walk in hotels and they're just happy you're there, or restaurants, and they like it. We've been places where it's not so well welcomed.
This is also true.
I'd say LaGrange.
Yeah, right.
Get these son of a bitches out of here.
Seriously, man. Leave it to a bunch of tack throwing rednecks to ruin a good bike course.
Yeah. Well,
come on, people.
Again,
let people ride their bikes.
We got new administration.
Let us ride our bikes.
Let's get Louisville back in August too, while we're
seriously.
At it.
It's like, don't throw tacks on our bike course, and we won't take your, Calvin pissing sticker off the back of your F350. Let's just call a truce and roll it out there. I mean, yeah, seriously, like, bring that. I was also hoping that, like, they said they're announcing a new full. I was crossing my fingers that they were going to bring Louisville back, because there's nothing that time of year. It's just like, and I know May needed it, but man, make the chat 70.3 full chat switch. I mean, like, that seems like a no. Just, call us. Call Mike and I. We'll do a Zoom call. We can rearrange a few things, move the full, adjust the finish line, boost registrations. You know where to find us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think, man, it's like Louisville would just be that, maybe I will do one kind of thing. It was always like never full, but it was a lot. They moved it. I think they were still getting over 2,000 people in there. We got to move this shit.
Yeah. It's too hot. It's too hot. I'm like, oh my God, it's the summer. Give me a break. Why do we have to keep making things so easy?
Yeah. Yeah, let's make it harder.
Why do we have to keep making things? Yeah, I don't get it. Let's make it harder. Like, again, you're setting yourself up for, honestly, like, the easier you make things, the more of a bucket list a one and done it is, and not something that people get into to continue to work hard and become the best versions of themselves. And that's not what you want. You want people who are in the sport for as long as possible, right? Not one and doneers. If you keep making it super easy, people are going to keep thinking it's super easy. And they're like, they do it one, only going to do it once and barely train for it, or two, they're going to think it's not hard enough.
Yeah, well, it's always
Hard is fine.
I know, and it's
Hard is
always
good.
hard. I mean, it's like, that's why I keep going back to Wisconsin, because it never feels easy to me. I mean, it's always like it's like Louisville. I still want to do that in the fall or in the summer. I just want to figure it out. That's kind of how I feel about Wisconsin right now. It's like, it seems like this master chess piece that I can't get a handle on. But anyway,
Well, we did it. we were going to spend, as usual, 10 or 15 minutes on it and then move to another one. But we'll talk about that next week. Hope you enjoyed today's Ironman Chattanooga podcast. We love that city. We love that town. Yeah, what's the place we used to best pancakes in town over there on the other side on North Shore?
I know.
God, what's it called? Best pancakes. Hold on. Hey, this is good. I mean, go to our usual stops. Go to Main Street Meats. Go to State of Confusion. And then that's going to drive me nuts what that place is called. That just shows you how long it is since you've been there. Don't go to Aretha Frankenstein. I think it's overrated and too much of it takes too long. The Daily Ration.
Yeah.
Head over to the Daily Ration. Best pancakes in town. Great location on the run course. And yeah, that Tupelo honey ain't bad either, but that's more of a franchise. But go to the Daily Ration, hit them up, and sit outside, play a little cornhole. Tell them Mike and Robbie sent you. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Best of luck to everybody this weekend. Go to our website, C26Triathlon.com. It is our one-stop shop for all things coaching, camps, and community. If you need anything from Mike, he's available. Mike at C26Triathlon.com. If you need anything from me, Robbie at C26Triathlon.com.
Yeah. I was laughing to myself because you remember when I was a member of that private club in Chattanooga?
I do remember.
I can't remember how some guy's like, hey, you better sign up now. It's going to be the hottest thing in. It was called the Common House.
That's it. Yep, I remember.
I was paying like $135 a month just to be a social member. I was like, and I never went. It was a very strange situation, but
I got a lot of great memories there, man. Like that was, yeah, dude, it's such a great town. I mean, and honestly, you want a great steak, like State of Confusion has a great ribeye. Yeah, great. I mean, and again, like great town, plenty of, very underrated food scene.
yeah, I would agree with that.
I know we didn't branch out like a ton, but yeah, I mean, just really, 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 really good town. It was getting a little bit too big for its britches when we departed. But yeah, I mean, listen, like I think not only for what we needed, but I mean, when you look at 2020, 2021, 2022, everybody was closed. Obviously, we were living in Tennessee, so, nothing really closed, but we didn't close ever. I mean, we were able to, I can't, I think about us a lot, like going back to that period. If we didn't have the hub, how insane I would have gotten. Like, we still had a space where we could go in, do the podcast in person, see people, and it opened up an opportunity for people because we weren't closed for business. We gave people the opportunity, like, hey, like, we're not going to close down during COVID. Like, if you need us, then we're here. Come see us, come do a hub visit, come hang out. We had camps, we had people come in, we had people just come in to visit. And then, I think it, again, like just from like the mental, emotional piece, like not had that, man, like that would have been even rougher than it already was.
Yeah. I was trying to think, what was that other, Old Gilman, remember that place? The steakhouse. That's a good place downtown. And then the Feed is good too.
The Feed. Yep. The Feed is another good. And then if you really want to just have a really, really, really amazing sandwich, Need Loves.
Oh yeah. Need Loves.
Money. There'll probably a line out the door, but pretty much anything on that little stretch right there, is going to be right there down over, what do they call that part of town? Yeah, exactly. Like the South Side, like Need Loves. Amazing. Be a great like Friday lunch, Saturday lunch sandwich. Yeah, we used to go there. We used to walk there. Yeah, go there all the time. Yeah, it's really great town. I'm sure they got plenty of places downtown. They don't have the Blue Plate special downtown anymore. That place went out of business, but
It's a
Yeah,
taco.
go there
joint
and
now.
what's that?
It's a taco place now.
That's right. It is a taco place. Go down there, spend your money, tell them Mike and Robbie sent you, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right. Yeah. See you next
See you,
Tuesday. Have a great race. Go get them.
Go get them.
All right, man.